So good afternoon everyone. My name is Benori Fariza S. Usop, all the way from the College of Letters and Music from the College of Arts and Sciences and from BSSW to B. So my topic po is all about the chapter 1 or A Hero is Born. So, let me start it with the quotation na nakalagay po sa book where sinabi po ni Rizal na my countrymen, I have given proofs more than anybody else desiring of liberties and I still desire them. But I place as a premise that the education of the people so that by means of education and of by liberties, they can make their own personalities and make themselves worthy of liberties. So, sinabi dito na para daw kay Rizal, hindi sapat na malaya lang tayo. Dapat we are educated and masipag na Pilipino so that we can make our own personality. Kasi para kay Rizal, ang Pilipino daw ay dapat na edukado and also may dangal so that we can be worthy of freedom. And hindi tayo basta-basta maluloko ulit. So si Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado E. Alonzo Rialonda was born in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861. Between 11 and 12 o'clock at night, a few days before in full moon. Si Dr. Jose Rizal, he was the greatest hero of the Philippines and was labeled as many splendor, jack of all trades, or sa madaling salita ay genius kasi marami po siyang kayang gawin. And Jose Rizal po, he was an anthropologist, botanist, businessman, cartographer, dramatist, engineer, economist, entomologist, essayist, ethnologist, farmer, folklorist, grammarian, geographer, historian, horticulturist, humorist, lexicographer, linguist, musician, novelist, physician, painter, poet, philologist, psychiatrist, polemist, satirist, sculptor, sportsman, sociologist, surveyor, traveler, and zoologist. So beyond that, he was also a patriot, a hero, and a martyr. So unlike many geniuses po, si Rizal po dedicated his God-given talents and even sacrificed his own life for the redemption and welfare of his people. So to tell you honestly, yung pagiging hero and talented po ni Rizal is napaka-unique combo. So nung year po, nung 1861 na kung kailan ipinanganak si Rizal, ang Pilipinas po ay nababalot po ng katahimikan at kayusan sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng mga Kastila, na kung saan sinabi pa na ang Pilipinas daw ay beneath the shadow of the cross. So sinasabi pa dito na ang center of life doon ng mga tao back then ay ang Christianity. So even ang Pilipinas ay under by the power ng mga Spaniards, sinasabi pa dito na mas nangingibabaw pa rin daw yung tinatawag nilang Paz Hispanica or the Spanish peace na dala ng pamumuno ng mga Espanyol. So despite the advantage ng Spanish is that the people back then were enjoying their serene, simple, and Christian way of living. So comparatively speaking is that they were better off than the subject people in the English, just like sa Dutch and Portuguese colonies at that age. So si General Jose Lemery naman, he was the Spanish governor general and was a good militarist whose achievement worthy of historical citation was the establishment of the politico-military government of the Visayas and Mindanao. So dahil po sa maayos na pamumuno ni Lemery, ang taon ng kapanganakan po ni Rizal is that nababalot po ng katiwasayan. So no bloody Muslim piratical raid, walang malalaking rebellion mula sa mga katutubo, at walang banta ng pananakop mula sa ibang dayuhang bansa. So habang ang Pilipinas po ay nasa ilalim ng pamumuno ng mga Kastila, ang labas ng bansa naman po or ang tinatawag nilang world frontiers ay in the middle of the chaos. So the world was sitting in the throes of political strifes, social upheavals, and international interference. So isa sa pinakamalaking biktima ng mga panahon na ito ay ang China, na kung saan inilalarawan sila bilang gargantuan, dambuhala ngunit prostrate. So ibig sabihin nakadapa at walang lakas. So the China po was so impotent to stop the predatory Western power kung sa gaya lang po ng ginawa ng England and ng France, na kung saan they were busy na kunin yung mga yaman nila. So on October 22, 1860 is that dahil nga natalo sa digmaan ng China, napilitan po sila na pirmahan yung Conventions of Peking, in which they lost more territories and grant more commercial concessions to the imperialist foreign devils. So hindi lamang po panlabas na kaaway ang problema ng China. Kasama na din po dito ang Manchu Dynasty na siyang namumuno noon ay tottering or malapit nang bumagsak. Mas lalo po silang naghirap dahil po sa Taiping Rebellion 1850-64, isa po siyang madugong internal na digmaan na kung saan siya pong sumirin sa mga mayayamang probinsya sa Yangtze. So the imperialist Western power flashed with their victories in China and they tried to repeat their performance in Japan. But at that time, ang Japan po ay isang closed country. And noong 1854 naman po, ang Japan po ay napilitan po silang magbukas ng kanilang mga pamantalan dahil po sa pagdating ni American Commodore Matthew C. Perry. So they thought na madali din nilang masasakop ang Japan just like what they did sa China. However, their efforts were foiled by the valiant Japanese people sa pamamagitan po ng Bushido spirit. So it is a traditional kodigo ng karangalan at dangal ng mga samurai. So in Indochina naman po, the French troops of Emperor Napoleon III strangely aided by the Filipino soldiers from Manila smashing down enemy's resistance. And noong 1851 naman po is matagpuan po ng sakop ang Saigon dahil po sa tutulungan ng mga Filipino and mga French forces. Then 4 years later po, the France acquired the Cochin China. So by the fire and the sword po, ang British East India Company armies were establishing the British Raj or rule all over the subcontinent of India and kasama na din po dito ang Burma. So noong 1857 naman po, sumiklab po ang Sepoy Mutiny. So ang Sepoy Mutiny po, it is the last resistance to the British imperialism. Nagapi pa rin ito ng mga British, pero ang kapalit po nito ay napakaraming buhay at pera. So the England had to fight 3 Burmese wars like 1824 to 26, 1862 to 63, 1885 to 86 to subdue Burma. So in January of 1861 naman po, si Benito Juarez, an Indian hero-blooded, entered the Mexican city as the head of his victorious Indian and Mexican troops and proclaimed the restoration of Mexican independence. So si Archduke Maximilian naman po, who had dream of ruling the Mexican city, was executed with the help of the bayonets sa Cuero Tarok Mexican or the Cerro de las Campañas noong June 19, 1867. So March of 1861 naman po is that nakita po yung proseso ng pagbabago ng mga serfs in Russia by Caesar Alexander II. So the following month of civil war exploded in United States over the slavery question and the issue of secession. So this slavery question po is that nagkaroon po ng feud between the northern state and the southern state dahil nga po ang gusto po ng northern state is stop yung slavery, while ang southern state naman po is gusto nila mapanatili yung slavery para po sa kanilang farm. And dito na po because of that feud, nagkaroon po ng the issue of secession where dahil nga po dun sa feud na yon is gusto pong humiwalay at bumuo ng sariling bansa ng southern state at tinawag po itong na kung saan ito po ay the Confederacy. So habang ang Pilipinas po ay nasa ilalim ng ng kolonyal na pamumuno, ang Europe naman po is that nasa gitna ng turmoil or matinding kaguluhan. So the German states were being forced into one nation by Bismarck, notwithstanding Austria's opposition. So the south of the Alps, Cavour, Garibaldi, na kung saan hindi sila sumunod sa Austria's might, were rallying the Italians to unite and fight for the Italia Redenta, ang mabawi ang mga lupain ng mga Italy at mapag-isa ito. So kabaligtaran naman po ang nangyari sa France. So ang Second Napoleonic Empire sa pamumuno po ni Napoleon III ay unti-unti nang nagigiba. So they have a lots of problems like domestic troubles, foreign troubles. Dahil nga po sa maling pamumuno ni Napoleon III is that ang France po is nawalan ng control. So only the England po sa lahat ng great powers was experiencing relative peace and prosperity. So under the rule of Queen Victoria, natalo po niya ang Russia sa Crimean War noong 1853 to 56, in which she acquired rich colonies in the east and attain a new height of glory in diplomacy and literature. So ang Spain naman po sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Queen Isabella II noong 1833 to 68 is that lugmok sa hirap at gulo, where she had lost her rich colonies except po sa Cuba and Puerto Rico in the New World. So ang Spain din po is nakaranas po sila ng decadence or tinatawag or yung rapid decline ng kapangyarihan dahil po sa loss of colonies. Ang Spain po is that nawala po sa Spain ang halos lahat ng mayayamang kolonya sa Amerika. So ang Carlist War naman po, ito po ay mahabang digmaang sibil sa pagitan po ng mga supporter ni Isabela at ni Don Carlos. Yung political squabbles naman po, it is a feud ng mga politiko sa loob ng government. And may tinatawag din tayong inap leadership where inilalarawan si Queen Isabela as inap monarch na kung saan hindi mahusay o walang kakayahang mamuno. Her bungling policies or wrong decisions is mas lalong nagpahirap sa nasabing bansa. So next po is the birth of a hero. So isang kaganapan naman po ang nangyari sa Calamba, Laguna noong malapit nang sumapit ang hating gabi noong June 19, 1861 nang isilang po si Rizal, isang payat at sakitin na sanggol. So muntik na pong mabawian ng buhay ang mother niya nung isilang po si Rizal. So yung miraculous na pagkaligtas po ni Doña Teodora Alonzo Rialonza ay inugnay po nila sa kanilang devotion sa Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. Then years later, Rizal recorded in his boyhood memoir na kung saan tinawag niya pa itong Valley of Tears where his existence would have cost his mother's life. So, after 3 days po ng pagkapanganak po kay Rizal noong June 22, 1861, he was baptized by the Catholic Church of Calamba by Rev. Rufino Colliantes ng kanyang ninong na si Rev. Pedro Casañas na malapit na kaibigan ng family nila. So, he was named as Jose by his religious mother in honor of Saint Joseph. So it was customary for the Catholic parents to name their children after the saint. So nagkaroon din po ng secret diary si Rizal where it was entitled Memoir de un Estudiante de Manila. So before po maging famous na Nobel writer si Rizal, nag-start na din po siyang magsulat ng kanyang memoir or tala-arawan about po sa kanyang student life mula 1861 to 1881. So he wrote it po sa wikang Spanish on 43 pages of ruled paper under by Pradan in Manila. So he wrote it also sa Span-English version and was published by Austin Craig noong 1907. So a complete version po ng original Spanish po was edited by Señores Alberto and Tomas D. Barreto and was published by Ban Miguel Brewery noong 1949. And the complete version po or a complete English translation po was written by Leon Miss Guerrero Jr. in 1960 and was published by Bardavoc Book Company in Manila noong 1951. So, the national hero's name po is Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Rialonda. So, ang Jose po ay galing po sa Saint Joseph. Ang Protasio po is kapistahan po ng San Protasio noong araw ng kapanganakan ni Rizal, which is the June 19. Ang Rizal naman po ay kinuha ng paternal side niya, which Rizal means green field. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado naman po is surname ng father niya, na kung saan Mercado means market. Ang Alonzo is surname ng mother niya, and ang Rialonda surname ng mother niya mula sa mga ninuno. So, si Rizal po ay pangpito sa 11 na anak ni na Francisco Mercado Rizal and ni Teodora Alonzo Rialonda. So, both parents po were labeled as model Filipino parents because they are devotedly religious, educated, industrious, affectionate but strict, hospitable, and civic-spirited. So, next po is the hero's father. So, ang father po ni Rizal is si Francisco Mercado Rizal. And he was born in Binyan, Laguna on May 11, 1818 and died in Manila on January 5, 1898 at the age of 80. So nag-aral po si Francisco ng Latin and Philosophy sa College of San Jose de Manila. So in his early childhood po is that after his mother's death, lumipat po sila Francisco sa Calamba, Laguna, and he became a tenant farmer sa Dominican Estate, and he married the college-bred Manileña na si Teodora Alonzo Rialonda noong June 28, 1848. So, si Dr. Jose Rizal labeled his father as model of fathers. So, his father was quiet, serious, frugal man. taller than average Filipino, with wide shoulders, brown complexion, prominent forehead, large eyes, large ears, and also firm jaw. So next naman po is the hero's mother. So ang mother po ni Rizal is si Teodora Alonzo Yalonda, was born in Manila on November 8, 1826 and died in Manila noong August 16, 1911 at the age of 85. So a graduate of Santa Rosa College, and she is a woman with high culture, business ability, and literary. So sinabi pa ni Rizal sa kanyang mother that my mother is more than a woman of ordinary culture. She knows literary, she speaks Spanish better than I, she's a mathematician and had read many books. So bukod po sa pagtulong ni Teodora sa farmer or sa farming and business ng family nila or nilang dalawa ni Francisco, is she looks also after the education and moral training ng kanyang numerous children.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So I'll be continuing the discussion about Chapter 1, A Hero is Born. I'm Siti Rahma Muhammad and this time we'll be discussing about the Rizal children. So si Francisco Mercado Rizal at si Teodora Alonzo Yalonda ay biniyayaan ng 11 anak at 2 sa kanila ay lalaki at isa doon si Dr. Jose Rizal at 9 sa kanila ay babae. So they were raised in a well-educated and disciplined, principled household where lumaki sila in an environment nandun yung valid learnings, moral integrity, as civic responsibility. So this family background greatly influenced the ideals and characters of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. So, ang pinakamatanda sa kanilang magkakapatid ay si Saturnina Rizal Hidalgo. Pinanganak siya noong June 4, 1850 at namatay noong September 14, 1913 sa edad na 63. Ang kanyang palayaw ay Neneng. So, as the oldest among the Rizal children, she often acted as a second mother sa kanyang mga nakababatang kapatid. She married Manuel T. Hidalgo of Tanawan, Batangas. So, Saturnina played a supportive role in Jose Rizal's life, especially noong mga panahong na-exile si Jose Rizal at naghihirap siya. She provides emotional and familial stability. So, after Jose Rizal's death, siya ang tumulong na ma-preserve yung mga letters, photographs, and documents na kanilang pamilya. So, ang ikalawa sa magkakapatid ay si Pasiano Rizal ng nakakatandang kapatid na lalaki ni Dr. Jose Rizal. Siya ay pinanganak noong March 9, 1851 at namatay noong April 13, 1930. So, he had a profound influence sa kay Dr. Jose Rizal, especially sa pag-shape ng kanyang nationalist views. Siya ang nag-protect kay Dr. Jose Rizal sa kanyang early colonial surveillance. At siya rin na nag-encourage sa kanya na mag-aral sa Europe at nag-manage ng kanilang finances ng kanilang pamilya at safety during the worsening in Calamba, Laguna. So after Jose Rizal's execution in 1896, he joined the revolution and became a general. And after the revolution, he retired to his farm in Los Baños and led the life of gentleman farmer. He died an old bachelor na binata, though he had a common law wife. And then the third child is Narcisa Rizal Lopez. She was born on October 29, 1852 and died on June 24, 1939 at the age of 87. So ang kanyang palayaw ay Sisa. Pinakasalan niya si Antonio Lopez na isang school teacher sa Morong, Rizal. So she is remembered for her loyalty to Jose Rizal noong nilolocate and pinapangalagaan yung burial site ni Jose Rizal after ng kanyang execution. So ika-4 sa kanila ay si Olympia Rizal Ubaldo. So pinanganak siya noong December 1855 at namatay noong September 1887 dahil sa pregnancy complication. Ang kanyang palayaw ay Yepa. pinakasalan niya si Silvestre Obaldo na isang telegraph operator sa Manila. Maaga siyang namatay, which her death deeply affected their family, especially si Jose Rizal, na naging part ng kanyang emotional landscape na makikita rin sa kanyang mga writings. So, ang ikalima sa kanila ay si Lucia Rizal Herbosa. Pinanganak noong June 13, 1857 at namatay noong December 25, 1919 sa edad na 62 dahil sa kolera. Ang kanyang pinakasalan ay si Mariano Herbosa ng Calamba, Laguna. So, nung na-exile si Jose Rizal sa Dapitan, siya yung sumama sa kanyang pamilya para manatili sa tabi ni Jose Rizal. So, after Jose Rizal's death, she remained outspoken about injustices and nagbigay rin ng assistance sa mga revolutionaries na naghahanap ng mga bahay, mapag-uwian at guidance. At ang ika-anim sa kanila ay si Maria Rizal Cruz, often called Biang. So, pinanganak siya noong August 1859 at namatay noong April 1945 at the age of 86. Pinakasalan niya si Daniel Faustino Cruz ng Binyan, Laguna. So, she was known for her gentle personality. Namuhay siya ng matagal at na-witness niya ang maraming historical changes ng ating history ng Pilipinas. So, after Jose Rizal's execution, siya yung nag-preserve ng mga letters and memories ng kanyang pamilya, which naging important source ng historical information ng mga biographers. And the seventh child who is our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, often referred as the Lucky Seven in the family. Pinanganak noong June 19, 1861 at namatay noong December 30, 1896 sa edad na 35. So, Jose Rizal is often called the Lucky Seven. Bakit? Kasi siya yung seventh child ng kanilang pamilya sa magkakapatid. Sa 11 na magkakapatid. So, ang term na lucky ay may symbolic meaning. Hindi lang siya literal na fortune. Nare-reflect ito ng cultural belief na ang ikapitong anak sa isang malaking pamilya ay regarded as special or blessed. In many cultures, including Filipino traditions, the seventh child is sometimes regarded as having a unique or fortunate destiny. So si Jose Rizal bilang ikapitong anak, binigyan siya nitong nickname ng Lucky Seven. And it is a sign na he was destined for greatness. And indeed, ito lumaki siya as one of the most influential of the Rizal siblings and then became our Philippine national hero. So he became a polymath, physician, writer, artist, and national reformer. And he married Josephine Bracken, an Irish woman he met in Hong Kong. So Jose Rizal's writings and martyrdom inspired the Philippine Revolution and secured his legacy as our national hero. And the eighth child, which is Concepcion Rizal, called Concha, pinanganak noong April 14, 1862 and died at the tender age of 3 due to illness noong August 21, 1865. So, her death was Jose Rizal's first experience of deep personal loss, which nag-left ng lasting impact kay Jose Rizal, nag-influence sa kanyang sensitivity at compassion sa kanyang buhay. And the ninth child is Josefa Rizal. Pinanganak noong August 9, 1865 at namatay noong March 11, 1945 sa edad na 80. So, Josefa grew into one of the most politically active among siblings. She joined Katipunan and took on a role of revolutionary circles. Since she remained unmarried, she devoted her life to principles of justice, freedom, and national dignity. And then the 10th child is Trinidad Rizal, na pinanganak noong November 11, 1868 at namatay noong August 16, 1951 sa edad na 83. And kagaya ni Josefa, namatay siya na dalaga. So Trinidad, siya yung nag-protect, nag-safeguard sa last or final poem ni Jose Rizal, which is the Mi Ultimo Adios. Siya yung nag-preserve nun para sa future generations. So, Trinidad remained one of the guardians of Rizal's family archive, preserving letters, artifacts, and testimonies na nag-help sa pag-shape ng ating national memory. And then the youngest among the 11 children is Soledad Rizal Quintero. So, pinanganak siya noong November 5, 1870 and namatay siya noong August 17, 1929. Pinakasalan niya si Pantaleon Quintero ng Calamba, Laguna. So, being the last born, siya yung nag-benefit masyado sa guidance ng kanyang mga nakakatandang kapatid. And she carried forward the family's values into the next generation. So, her letters reflect a sharp mind and a strong sense of justice. Siya yung nag-defend sa kanyang pamilya during political conflicts at she helped keep their memories alive sa pamamagitan ng pag-preserve at storytelling. So, each of the Rizal siblings played a unique role sa pamilya nila. They formed a supportive and principled family na nag-shape kay Jose Rizal, nag-shape sa kanyang character at ideals. Yung collective story nila ay nag-reflect na importance ng family influence sa pag-form ng isa sa mga greatest figures ng ating Philippine history. So when Rizal was executed in 1896, yung kanyang mga kapatid ang nagdala ng kanyang legacy through quiet resilience at active participation sa revolution. So their stories reveal how a single family helped support the birth of a nation. So next is the ancestry of Rizal. So like a typical Filipino, si Jose Rizal mayroon siyang mixed ancestry. So nananalayta sa kanya ang dugo ng East and West Negrito, Indonesian, Malay, Chinese, Japanese, at Spanish. So bakit nga bang dami niyang bloodline? So tara at alamin natin. So dito sa paternal ancestry ni Dr. Jose Rizal. Si Domingo Lamco na isang Chinese immigrant galing Chinchu, China, China City of Spring, ang great-great-grandfather ni Dr. Jose Rizal. Dumating siya sa Pilipinas sa Manila at inadapt ang surname na Mercado noong 1731, which will be discussed kung bakit nila inadapt yung surname na ito sa following slides. So, his father, ang father ni Dr. Jose Rizal na si Francisco Mercado, ang great-grandson ni Lamco. So, ang lolo ni Dr. Jose Rizal at ang ama ng kanyang lolo ay both kapitanes or town mayors ng Biñan, Laguna. Dito pa lang, na-highlights ang industrious and leadership-oriented nature ng paternal lineage ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So, yung involvement ng kanyang pamilya sa local governance nagre-reflect ng kanilang respected status at sense ng kanilang civic responsibility. Walang maternal ancestry naman ni Dr. Jose Rizal, sinasabing nagmula sa angkan nila Kandula, ang last king ng Tondo, Manila. And then, ang maternal great-great-grandfather naman ni Dr. Jose Rizal ay may dugong Hapon na pinangalan ng Eugenio Ursua. At si Manuel de Quintos naman na isang prominent lawyer sa Manila, ang maternal grandfather ng kanyang ina na si Theodora Alonso. Samantala, si Cipriano Alonso naman ang kanyang paternal grandfather na isang kapitan sa Biñan, Laguna. At si Lorenzo Alberto Alonso naman ang ama ng kanyang ina na si Theodora Alonso Rialonda na isang engineer at pinagkalooban ng Spanish government in recognition of his loyal service sa Spanish Crown ng Knight of Grand Order of Isabella the Catholic. Isa itong prestigious decoration na pinagkakaloob lamang sa mga civilians na nagde-demonstrate ng exceptional merit sa public service, administration at contributions na nagbe-benefit ang Spain at ang mga colonies nito. So Lorenzo, being an engineer and respected public official, rendered his valuable services in local governance and public works. This award reflected his professional competence, social standing, and cooperation with Spanish colonial authorities rather than military service. Receiving such an honor indicated that he belonged to the educated and elite class of Filipinos trusted by the Spanish administration. So maternal side ni Rizal, it strongly influenced his intellectual growth. His mother, Teodora Alonso, nagmula sa highly educated clan, which explains sa role niya as first teacher ni Jose Rizal. This lineage nag-highlight ng intelligence, leadership at patriotism na nag-root deeply sa family heritage ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So, in 1849, si Governor Narcisa Claveria, nag-issue siya ng decree na nire-require yung mga Filipino families na i-adopt ang Spanish surnames para masystematize yung tax collection at civil records. Kaya yung mga anak ni Lorenzo Alberto, pinili nila sa list of approved surnames yung apelyido na Riolonda. Kaya naging Teodora Alonso Riolonda ang pangalan ng kanyang ina. Which ito yung nagliling sa kanyang pamilya formally sa Spanish naming conventions habang pinipreserve yung Filipino and Chinese heritage nila. So, yung ancestry ni Rizal from both paternal and maternal nagre-reflect ng unique, fusion, unique, diverse cultures. Nagko-combine ng Asian, European bloodlines. From his paternal Chinese roots na si Domingo Lamco to his maternal Malayan and Japanese heritage na si Eugenio Ursua at si Lacandula, coupled with Spanish influence through the surname Rialonda, si Rizal, nandun sa lineage niya yung talent, civic responsibility at leadership. So itong diverse heritage na meron siya, ang nagtulong sa kanya na ma-shape siya into a national hero na nag-embrace ng both local and global perspective. So next is the name Rizal. So bakit nga ba Rizal? So the family name Rizal was not actually the original surname of the Jose Rizal's family. It was Mercado. So like many Filipino families during the Spanish period, the Rizals underwent changes in the surnames dahil nga sa colonial policies and also personal choices na rin. Yung evolution ng Mercado to Rizal nagre-reflect ng both historical circumstances at yung independent character ng kanilang pamilya. So as what I've said earlier, itong Mercado na surname is inadapt lamang ng paternal ancestry ni Dr. Jose Rizal na si Domingo Lamco noong 1781. So, in English, ang Mercado, ang ibig sabihin nito is market. Pinili lamang ito ni Domingo Lamco dahil ito yung bumabagay sa background niya as a merchant. And also, ito yung nagre-remind sa kanyang roots na sa Qinchu, China, where karamihan sa kanyang mga ancestors engaged sa trade at commerce. And also, kanina na-mention ko rin yung pagpapalit ng pangalan through the order of General Narciso Claveria noong 1849. So, itong decree na to, sinabi ko rin na para ma-systematize yung population records, maging madali sa mga colonial government na ma-manage yung taxation, censuses, legal documents, and church records such as baptism and marriages. So ito, actually, this decree aimed to Hispanize surnames that Spanish authorities found difficult to pronounce and remember. So by assigning distinct surnames, yung mga authorities, mas napapadali sa kanila yung ma-identify yung families at individuals sa mga towns at provinces. So, although yung surname na yon is in Spanish form, yung decree, actually, administrative reform siya, not a declaration na lahat ng Filipino ay Spanish or having a Spanish blood. So, families were assigned or allowed to choose surnames from the official catalog para ma-prevent yung entire town na mag-share ng same last name. So itong reform na to nag-explain kung bakit maraming Pilipino ngayon have these Spanish sounding surnames despite having indigenous or Asian ancestry. So nung nagkaroon nga ng decree na ito, si Francisco Mercado na ama ni Dr. Jose Rizal, ni-review niya yung list ng mga Spanish surnames na pinadala sa Calamba, Laguna. Which is nandun na rin yung mga common names na Cruz, Santos, Ramos, at Rivero. Pero hindi niya nagustuhan ang mga surnames na nandoon sa list na iyon. Kaya, known for his independent character, yung ama ni Dr. Jose Rizal, pinili niya yung kakaibang surname na Rizal, kung saan hindi recommended names ng mga Spanish authorities. So, he considered this new family name na mas fitting sa kanilang family farming clan than Mercado, na which signifies market. Kasi ang term na Rizal is nagmumula sa Spanish word na Rizal, nang ibig sabihin ay green field or new pasture. So, itong adaptation ng surname na Rizal nagre-reflect ng assertion ng independence ng kanilang pamilya despite colonial regulation. While yung mga Filipinas dati, sinunod nila yung official list ng surnames na nirecommend ng Spanish authorities, si Francisco Mercado pinili niya yung pangalan na nagsesymbolize ng agriculture at growth. So, ito, ina-highlight nito yung kanilang agricultural roots at values. So, yung decision niya nagre-reflect ng pride ng kanilang pamilya, independence at connection sa kanilang lupain. So, eventually, the Rizal became one of the most significant names in the Philippine history and carried by the man who would inspire a nation, our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Then, the Rizal family. Ano nga bang meron sa kanilang pamilya? So, the Rizal family was one of the richest families in Calamba before their persecution by the friars. So, bago pa man magkaroon ng mga alitan sa pagitan ng Rizal family at ng Spanish friars, kinikilala na ang kanilang pamilya as one of the wealthiest and most influential families sa Calamba, reflecting their strong economic position in the community. So, through industry and frugality, Rizal's parents honestly built a large fortune. So, ang mga parents ni Dr. Jose Rizal na sina Francisco Mercado and Doña Teodora Alonso, nagkaroon or inipon nila yung wealth nila, nagkaroon sila ng kayamanan, hindi dahil sa dishonest means or inheritance, kundi dahil sa sipag, discipline at wise management na kanilang mga resources. So the family became the first in Calamba to build a large stone house and own a karwahe. So yung abilidad nila na mag-construct ng stone house at mag-own ng horse-drawn carriage is nagsesymbolize ng parehong kayamanan at social prestige during the Spanish colonial period. So they were also the first to establish home library and send their children to colleges in Manila. So the results valued education highly, also shown in their extensive home library of more than 1,000 volumes. May mga aklat, sobrang daming aklat. And also, nakikita rin, nare-reflect din doon sa decision nila na ipaaral yung mga anak nila sa mga institutions sa Manila of this higher learning. So, the Rizal family cultivated rice, corn, and sugar on large lands rented from the Dominican estate of Calamba. So, yun nga dati kasi, di ba, agriculture is the major source of income. And yun yung major source ng income ng kanilang pamilya. And with that, nagkaroon din sila ng large-scale farming activities na kinakandak sa mga land lease na galing sa mga Dominican friars. So, they operated a sugar mill, a flour mill, and also a homemade ham press. So, beyond farming, the family invested also in processing facilities na nag-aalaw sa kanila para ma-maximize yung production and profits nila sa agricultural products. So, yung family nila, the family successfully engaged in the dye and sugar business as well as in barter trade with other towns. So, the results expanded their economic activities by trading goods. Nag-trade sila ng mga goods sa kanilang mga neighboring towns and yun nagde-demonstrate na kanilang business skills and adaptability. And then, Teodora Alonso owned a store that sold essential goods and added significantly to the family income. So, si Teodora Alonso, she played an active role sa kanilang pamilya in terms of financial success by managing a store na nagpro-provide sa daily necessities nila to townspeople and generated additional income. So, the Rizal family later purchased another stone house as further proof of their affluence. So, yung pagkakaroon nila ng second stone house, nagpapatunay or nagpapakita ng kanilang kayamanan, which is not temporary but also sustained over time, na panatili. Hanggang ngayon nakikita natin. So aside from wealth, the Rizals were highly respected for their culture, hospitality, and social participation. So yung family nila nag-combine economic success with refinement and active involvement sa social and religious activities, earning the admiration and respect from their community noong mga panahon nila dati. Then Don Francisco and Doña Teodora welcomed all guests with equal courtesy regardless of status or race. So whether priests, Spanish officials, or ordinary Filipinos, lahat ng visitors nila, tinatrato nila with fairness and hospitality, reflecting the Rizal family's values of equality and respect. And then the Rizal home. So the Rizal family lived in the distinguished stone house in Calamba during the Spanish period. The Rizal residence stood out among the houses in Calamba because stone houses were rare and usually owned by the affluent and respected families during Spanish colonial times, reflecting the family's social standing. The house was rectangular and constructed of adobe stone and hardwood with a red tiled roof. So, its sturdy materials and architectural design, as you can see in the picture, showed durability, wealth, and adaptation to the Spanish colonial building styles common among the prominent Filipino families during those times. So, at the back of the house were a poultry yard, and the garden filled with various tropical fruit trees. So, behind it, yung mga turkeys, yung poultry yard nila na turkeys and chickens, and then yung mga garden nila na mayroong trees ng atis, balimbing, makopa, papaya, at saka santol at tampoy. So, the presence of livestock and fruit-bearing trees demonstrated the family's self-sufficiency and close connection to agriculture, which also contributed to their daily sustenance. And then the Rizal home was a joyful household filled with parental affection and children's laughter. So the family atmosphere was warm and nurturing, emphasizing love and emotional security rather than mere material comfort. So during the day, the house was lively with the sounds of children playing, and then while at night, it resonated with the family prayers. So yung routine na to nagre-reflect ng balance ng family life that valued both recreation and spirituality, instilling discipline and faith in the children. And then strong bonds of love, understanding, and harmony united the parents and children. So the mutual respect between parents and the children created a supportive environment where moral values and good character were developed. So the wholesome environment of the Rizal home contributed to the formation of a morally upright and a wholesome family. So such a nurturing household played a crucial role in shaping Dr. Jose Rizal's character, values, and future ideals as a nationalist and reformist. So that's all. Thank you for listening.